So I'll be recording this session, Dr. Smita.
Sure.
So if you want to, I'm repeating, if you want to see her screen right at the center, you pin her camera so that you can see her right at the top. Dr. Smita will also be presenting a presentation. So let me formally start. I would like to welcome Dr. Smita Desai to today's session. Today is our fourth session in the second day. So we do 1.5 hour in the morning, 1.5 hour in the evening. Rather than going in a stretch, we have distributed. And somehow I have found that 4:30 to 6 is still better than, because everyone has got families back home and, lockdown is happening. So Dr. Smita Desai, I've been knowing her for years together. So most of the people, resources who have come in have been known to me for many years together. That's why I have brought really reliable resources. Dr. Smita Desai is currently sitting in US. It's morning 7 o'clock, so you should wish her good morning. So she's in US. She went before the lockdown to spend some valuable time with her daughter and got stuck there. Now she cannot come. Lockdown is off. International flights operate. Which part of the US, Smita, you want to share?
So my older daughter, Gauri, she's studying for an doctoral program in Indiana University in Indiana, Bloomington. Okay. But then we kind of shifted for a while to my aunt who lives in Ohio. We drove down there because we just felt it would be much safer. And we've been staying here for 2 months now. So, but I'm moving back to Bloomington end of next weekend because Gauri has, work to catch up on and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Mumbai is missing you, Smita. Hope you remember Mumbai, the streets in Mumbai.
That's really nicely what my husband tells me. So I'm waiting to get back, Francis.
So Dr. Smita Desai is an educational psychologist and a special educator. Since 1989, she's the founder director of Drishti, which she set up in 1994. Drishti is an organization that works in the space of psychology and special education. They've got offices in Mumbai and in Bangalore. They've got a team of 50 professionals specialized in psycho-diagnostics, therapies, capacity building for schools, teachers, training. They've recently started their online education platform, also known as Prabhav. She values education to the core, very, very clear that every child is actively involved. That's why when we spoke about a topic, we thought about partnerships, right, with families are so crucial. In education, you cannot work alone with the child. You just admitting something. Yeah, you have to get involved with the families, and that's like total holistic education when you also get involved with the families. And of course, there's one more extension, which is the community. So when you add the community also along with the families, that's total complete. So our topic today was very relevant to our school, because when we work with our children in Mumbai Public School, we would be working not only with the children but also with families. So formally we welcome you, and over to you. And just one, I would step out at 5. I'd be around, and then the team from the ICSE school will be closing off at 6 o'clock, right?
Sure. Okay.
Probably our teachers have started asking questions. I hope so in the end. So they would ask some questions. So, you can leave some space for that. They would also put some questions in the chat mode, right, on the right-hand side. So if you something, and I've always told teachers that you can also encourage the speaker and the resource person, so that you're also putting an effort. So it's nice to hear whether you're understanding, you want to go deep discussion on it, for you, for proper direction. Over to you, Doctor. Over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, just one thing, Francis. I'm pretty visible, right? And I'm also audible, right?
Yeah.
And audible also, right?
Yes.
Okay,
and you've got a presentation also, right?
Yes, and I will present from my end. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Francis. Thank you so much. Okay, so good evening to all of you. Yeah, and again, I'd like to thank Friends Francis. Francis, I would say, is now more of a friend than a colleague, and we've known each other. I know his wife very well. So, and we've been kind of working hand in hand, on many different issues in education across the last what almost a couple of decades now. So, it's absolute pleasure when he asks me to, address y'all. And, when I know that it is teachers who are working with the BMC schools, etc., that is a particularly soft spot for me. Okay. So, welcome to this session. And this is the way I do my sessions. So just a couple of, guidelines so that we move along kind of smoothly. Um, One thing is that I will soon be moving into my presentation and I will be talking about it. I, of course, encourage you to leave some questions in your chat box. But typically, what I will do is I will probably have a look at the chat box. Maybe somewhere in the middle of the presentation, or maybe we can wind it up at the end. But you're welcome to leave your questions, because I know that questions might come up as we're moving through. But you're welcome to leave your questions there, and I'll attend to it maybe in the middle or at the end. I'll just see how the whole session is going. So I just take it as it's coming. I also have a couple of activities planned for you. So I'm going to try and do that. And we also have a video to run. So I've tried to keep it as interesting as possible. And of course, we're going to try and stick to our timelines. Absolutely. So my plan is to kind of, I know that we have on your time zone, I have 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. And the way I planned it, 6 p.m. we're going to close for everyone. Okay, and I'm going to try and finish everything that I have in terms of my interaction with you around 10 to 15 minutes before 6, so that we actually do spend good quality time in kind of question answers back and forth. Yeah. So I'm going to now start with my. I'm just give me a couple of seconds. I'm going to share my screen with you and run my presentation. Okay. So just give me a couple of seconds and I'll move into that mode. Thank you. Okay, so I hope all of you can see the screen. My presentation title is Building Partnerships with Students and Parents. Okay, this was what Francis and I had discussed. We discussed a couple of different things, but we thought this would be a good orientation. Okay,
Smita,
yes.
just check whether, can you see in the screen the presentation? So it must be in one of the cameras. So when you look at that, you can just spin it so it comes up. If you want to just say, you can see it, yeah, use the chat to just say, or thumbs up, some way. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, or if is
So
everyone okay?
Yeah, we can see it. Please.
Okay, so should I just proceed, Francis?
Yes, perfect.
All right, thank you. Okay, so like I said, our agenda for today is going to be building partnerships with students and parents. What exactly are we going to be talking about? Basically, 5 points. Just a little bit in terms of, the fact that you will be working with first generation school based learners. I do know that, you are all going to be teaching in this school, but I don't know each of your individual backgrounds, whether you all have worked in any BMC schools, or you all have just come from regular schools. Francis, what's just give me a very quick any of the teachers who've already been working in BMC schools?
So I'll ask both the school heads to respond.
Okay.
Is Vandana ma'am there? Jyoti there? Jyoti or Vandana?
Hello, sir.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you respond to Dr. Smita?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you repeat the question?
Yes. I just want to know if any of the teachers are,
Hello.
already have worked in BMC schools.
Ma'am, we are already working in BMC schools.
Right. Okay. So all the teachers are
Yeah.
already, coming from some or the other
Yes.
BMC school. Oh,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
wonderful. That's great. That's
Good,
great.
good,
And
good
have
morning,
they,
ma'am. Hello.
good morning. Good morning.
We are all madam from BMC school. We are working there at
Oh,
present.
okay. Great, great, great. And these
Thank you.
have been BMC schools in the English medium or some other medium?
No,
No,
ma'am. We all are from.
English medium.
Okay. So all from the MPS, is it?
Yes, yes.
No,
Okay.
few
That's
are
great.
from
That's great.
UPS.
Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Vandana. And
Thank you, ma'am.
just wanted to get a quick background, because I've also been volunteering with an NGO which works with the MPS in Juhu. This is the Juhu municipal school, and which has now, of course, been shifted to Viliparle. But for some time, I've been working with them in terms of volunteering. And in fact, my husband, Anand Desai, who's also my partner at Drishti, and a psychologist, he's in fact been engaged with that particular NGO and the BMC school for like ever since the inception of the school more than a decade ago. So just wanted to get a feel of it. Thank you so much, both of you. So just to you already have been working with these kids. The second is talking about a growth mindset. I'll get to what that is. And trust and respect building with students and parents, counseling skills for teachers, and the role of teacher. So these are basically the 5 points that I will be touching upon through my session. Okay, so just quickly, reading along for you because then, that kind of gives you both the audio and the visual. And that is education is the key to future success. And, no education system in the world would be able to excel without teachers. How a teacher understands, responds, and teaches has a key role to play and influences the parents and the students. Now, when you read this, I don't think any of us expected that we are going to move into such a completely different mode of reaching out to our children, even though it may be in the short term or for a slightly longer term. So, yet I think, we can't really be without teachers because no matter how much of technology and robotics we may use, I think we need the human connection. And I think that human connection, as a child psychologist, I feel that human connection is so, so important to children. And although we have to get onto this only online mode for a while, but I still think that we need to reach out to them, best we can. Okay, so as as you've all been in this school, you've been working in this environment for a long time or for a short time. These are generally what we know that first generation school going learners go through. These are some of the thoughts that the child is going to have. And as you know, when they come into the school, I mean, for any child, actually, right? As they grow a little older, they have thought processes of their own. They have so much of emotion that they have to process. And, these are just some very common thoughts. And if you see these thoughts that I've been putting down, okay, will I be able to learn? Will the teacher understand me? Will I be accepted by the teacher? Will I be made fun of for not knowing anything? I think this outlines the importance of the role of the teacher. Yeah. So, I think that's something that's really important for you to understand. I feel that the teacher is the most important person in the classroom for the child, and what you do your actions, your responses is going to make or break the child. So, your English language learners, as you know, your classroom has first generation English language learners. And these are students who are unable to communicate fluently or speak effectively in English, learn effectively. You all have been working with these children for so long, and you know that they come from homes which are, limited in their linguistic resources. So parents are not speaking English, parents are probably not being at school, and therefore you're really going to have to modify your instruction, both in the English language and your academic courses. I think as far as that is concerned, you probably know much more than me because you've been working with them, yes? So, yeah, and I'm sure that you know exactly, where these kids come from. In fact, one of the most interesting experiences of my volunteering work in the Jew BMC school was my home visits. Yeah? And they were really, they really brought me into reality, right? I used to do this once in a while. I mean, I've been volunteering off and on in different places, but this was my latest, latest outing, just this year and last year, and so once, more than once, in fact, I've been invited for a meal, for a cup of tea, and one of my, I think, most prized memories is when I was invited for dinner, and there was this girl, and her mom who lived alone, and the three of us went, me and one of the teachers, and also the person who heads the NGO. Yeah, so the three of us were invited for dinner, and I mean the hospitality and the wonderful food made by this lady. And of course, we couldn't eat all that biryani. So not only did we stuff ourselves, but she also then packed it for us in boxes, and which we took home, and everyone enjoyed. So I mean, exactly where these children are coming from, and whether we want to or not, they're bringing all of that. They're bringing all of that into the classroom because it's them, right? And you can't separate that out. So, thus, what do we need? We need what is known as a growth mindset. If you haven't read a book, there is a book. This has come about from there is a psychologist called Carol Dweck, and she's from Stanford University, USA, and she has written a book on building a growth mindset. So if any of you want to check it out, I think it's available on Amazon, or it can be available as an ebook also. And it is the author's Carol Dweck, Dweck. So you might want to read that. So this is something from her. So I'm going to ask you to do a little activity for me. I hope you have some pencil and or a pen and paper with you. Okay. So I want you to draw 4 shapes. Just the 4 regular shapes. I want you to draw. Okay, so let's draw all the 5 shapes which I'm showing you. Okay, so you have your square, your triangle, a star, a diamond, and an oval. Okay, let's draw these 5 shapes. Now, the difference is you're not going to start drawing until I tell you. And what you're going to do is, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds. If you haven't got a pen and a paper, whatever, just grab something from close to you. And yeah, so this is what you're going to do. What you're going to do is you're going to use your non-preferred hand. Okay, so if you're a right-handed person, you're going to use the left, and vice versa. And you're going to hold your pencil in your non-preferred hand, and you're going to try and draw me these 5 shapes. Okay, and once you draw me these 5 shapes, can you just put down, in just one word or one sentence, what you felt while you were doing this activity? If you can put it down in the chat box. Yeah. So I'm going to give you like 30 seconds to do this. Yeah. And I'm going to be looking for your responses in the chat box. Yeah. So let's have you doing this little activity for me. Using your non-preferred hand, just draw those 5 shapes. Okay, Swati, thank you for your first comment. Thank you, Neelam. Oh, you can draw it easily, Rupal. That's great. Okay, now guys, I'm sure some of you did it, some of you haven't done. Okay, Kalpesh says I'm done. Now you're going to go and do it with your preferred hand. Okay? And probably right next to it, or just draw a line, and next to it, you're going to draw it with your preferred hand. Okay. Okay, all right. So, what I want you to put down next in the chat box is, what is the biggest difference you found in yourself, in the sense both cognitively, what did you think? I want you to put down, what did you feel? So emotionally, what is the difference that you felt when you were doing the activity with your non-preferred hand and with your preferred hand? Give me a little bit on the chat box. Right. Right. So the different messages, on chat, as you can see, the earlier ones were like, I felt like a kid was drawing, and, it was challenging, but it was fun. It's worse than a junior KG kid. And, like Neelam very nicely has put it, I was stressed out with the non-preferred hand. And, Sophia has also said that what we know, it's, we are habituated, so we, it's easy to do. And so that's really my, and I think one of the biggest things, and which has come up on the chat also, is that I think it takes much less time to do things or tasks or activities when when it's something we know, something we are habituated to, right? It just takes a lot of more time to do stuff which we're not habituated to, right? And this is exactly how the brain works for the children who come to your school, when they join your school, because it's an environment which is so different from which they've ever been to, right? And this is for any children entering a school environment, okay? And so it takes a lot of time for them to get habituated and therefore you have all the emotions of either crying or acting out or behaving inappropriately or just withdrawing, being very shy, because they are an environment which is so different. And I think also as a teacher, you've got a whole new set of kids. Until you get habituated to it, it's going to take you some time. So literally, I consider whenever I start work anywhere, I literally consider the first 1 month as if I am working with my non-preferred hand. Yeah. So it's not like I can't do it, but it is challenging. It's not as comfortable, and I'm going to have to work very hard at it. Yeah. And it then slowly moves into how you're working with your with your preferred hand. And yeah, so this might be something that you just keep in mind when you see children who are settling in, or who are not adjusting as they should. Okay. All right. So I do hope that you just liked that little activity, which was not just having to hear me and see this. Okay. So, does a teacher's mindset impact a student's self-image? So I have two questions for you. Let's take the first question, okay? And I need your response to this. Does a teacher's mindset impact a student's self-image? And I would say, I don't want just a yes or a no. Let me put it as, how does a teacher's, if you feel it does, then how? Okay, so that's my first question. So could I have some responses on the chat, please? I just want your responses to question 1. Okay. Anyone else? I have Sujata and Amol who've put up some comments. Can I have someone else? Have a look at what the question is. The question is, does a teacher's mindset impact a student's self-image? If it does, then how? And let's take the second question also. Does a teacher's words have significant impact on students, and how? It definitely boosts one's inner capacity. Student tends to behave as we treat them. Sure. We should focus on grooming children's personality, our attitude, behavior. Okay, all right. I've got some responses. Now, I'm asking you a question, okay, which also I want a response to. And so my question is, what do you understand, or what do you think is the meaning of mindset? Yeah, my question to you is, what is the meaning of mindset? So if you can put down your thoughts, or what you think about it, what you know about it on the chat, that'll be good. And I really would like everyone to participate. Yeah, that's the only way you're going to take this learning home. And you don't, when I'm asking you to put down something, it's not like I'm asking you have to know everything, because if you knew everything, it would be, my presence here would be of no use at all to you. So can I just have some responses, or all of your responses, on what you think is a mindset? Okay, people, I'm waiting. Can I have some responses? Just whatever you think mindset is. So, for example, Vandana has put in that the mindset of the teacher is very important. So, what is this mindset? What do we understand as mindset? Jyoti, Swati, Neelam, Kalpesh. I'm getting to know some names. Sudam, Sujata, Amol. Come on, we need some response from you. Okay, so mindset means, yeah, so I've got a lot of stuff. Okay, so perceptions of a particular person or a proper framework of what we're going to do, the way we think, the way we approach, fixed ideology, mental attitude, mindset means one's thinking of behavior. Okay, all right. Focus, values, views. Okay, so let's have a look at what what we understand as mindset. So, what are mindsets? Okay, mindsets are basically a basket of how you it's the way it's the way you view yourself. Okay, it's the way you will do things. All right, and thus there are known to be two mindsets. Okay, a fixed mindset means something that you're born with, whereas a growth mindset is when you believe that everything that we do, okay, anything that we might any task we might carry out, any learnings that we might take, comes from hard work, and we can always improve. So let's say, like a sports person. A sports person, does he has he always known perhaps how to run so fast, or how to cycle so fast, or how to swim so fast, or has he, is there always potential to improve? And when you believe that there is always a potential to improve, that is coming into a growth mindset. That means what you're looking at, you tend to have a growth mindset. Again, a fixed mindset is basically something, when you have challenges, you tend to give it up easily. Okay. You could just say that, oh, I don't know how to do it, or I'm not good at this. But a growth mindset says that it's a challenge, and I'm going to look upon it not as a difficulty, but as something I can embrace. And it's going to be a learning opportunity for me. So you might have noticed that most of us initially tend to look at new things, different things, as a little bit of a difficulty. Okay, most human beings. Okay, there are those who are risk takers and who tend to see every new challenge as wow. Let's see what happens. Okay, but that's ordinarily a smaller percentage. Okay, most of us tend to look upon it as, oh my God, this is new. How am I going to do it? However, there are a lot of us, okay, especially those who've been through certain experiences in life, who say, okay, now I've got to do this. Let me see how I'm going to do this, okay? And that's how, when we say challenges which should be embraced, it can be an opportunity to grow. And then we're looking at effort, when we say, oh, um, it's not so necessary, or I put in so much work but it's not good enough, so I'm just not going to do it anymore. No one's acknowledging it, no one's praising me, or I'm showing no impact or no effect at all. Well, that's a fixed mindset. Okay, but when you tell yourself that, well, I know I have a classroom, where I've got, 10 out of 40 kids or 10 out of 50 kids who are demanding a lot out of me. But it's essential. There's no other way out of this. And I better build up my competencies so that I can deal with it. But that is a growth mindset because in everything that you see, okay, right from here to your feedback, how are you taking feedback? How are you taking setbacks? All these things that you see, why is it called a growth mindset? Because the way you are viewing things is finally going to lead to your growth. Okay, you are growing as an individual. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you engage with people. And this growth is something that you will carry forward to the other people you engage with, whether it's the children in your classroom, whether it is your family members at home. Everyone is going to benefit from this growth mindset. Okay, so that's what Dweck has spoken about, that, we're talking about two mindsets. And if you see in my next slide, I've specifically put down a slide on teacher mindset in the classroom. Okay, so how would you how would you see the class environment? How would you set up your class environment? So a fixed mindset is where order and rules are more important than relationship building, whereas in a growth mindset, the teachers partner with the students. Okay, you build up partnerships so that the classroom can be organized, but kind of we do it together, we do it for everyone. Okay, because they're going to be children. Children are all going to be different, and that is the norm. They're not going to be the same. Somehow, the way school systems are designed, it's more like we have factory workers, and they're all going to work on the same machine, and they're all going to give the same outcomes. But that's not what is the reality. I mean, okay, that you have every child who's in a way unique, and yet you have to give a similar and a fixed curriculum, and you're literally demanding similar outcomes. But that's really not how it is. And therefore, in a fixed mindset, the students believe that the classroom belongs to the teacher. Whereas in a growth mindset, where a teacher with a growth mindset will have students who will view the classroom as our classrooms. Okay, so this growth mindset is really talking about building partnerships. Okay, then even when you're designing student tasks, learning experiences in a fixed mindset, learning experiences follow a script, okay, or a pacing guide to ensure that all learners are treated the same way and the same key goals are met. So you're saying, I am looking at my 40 students at doing ABC, and they need to come out with these outcomes by so-and-so timeline within a time frame, which I understand are some challenges that we face at work. But within the classroom, you can design your tasks for the learning in a way which is based on the needs of individual students, and which is also the basis of what is known as differentiated instruction, which probably I'll do with you at some point of time. And also, when a student is stuck on a task, in a fixed mindset, when a person or a teacher with fixed mindset, students who do not understand curricular material are seen as having reached the natural limits of their capacity. But, you're in class 4 and you're supposed to be doing this. I mean, why isn't this child doing this? Doesn't he have the capacity for it? Whereas in a growth mindset, you view that student as one who does not understand curricular material, is seen to be facing challenges that can be overcome, okay, through the right effort, through the right support, through the right mentoring. And again, with a fixed mindset, assistance can be provided to help to get a student unstuck, but there is no assumption that all students can perform to equally high levels. So if you realize, we kind of start putting them into baskets after a while. We have the kids who have issues, so can't really complete everything in the classroom. So we literally put them like at a level 1, level 2, level 3, There are those who fall in the average, there are those who are the above average and the below average, okay? But with a growth mindset, what you're thinking about is that let's teach the students, okay? When they're encountering difficulties, we can use various support systems, and let me have, um, you know, let me have good high expectations for every child. Yes, as with respect to their personality, but each one of them has strengths. And so if that's the kind of mindset you go in with, i'm not saying it's I'm not saying it's always easy to do this, not at all. It's very difficult. But if that's the mindset you keep, that every child has the potential to be doing something, then you're going to be looking very positively. And if kids come up with issues also, you're always going to be finding some support to be helping the child reach his or her potential. Yeah. So that's really what mindsets are. It's the way you think, it's the way you view challenges, it's like you can see how you handle feedback, how you handle setbacks. You handle setbacks as a wake-up call to work harder next time. You handle feedbacks as something useful rather than feeling someone is criticizing you. Yeah, so these are what these mindsets are. And we're not all growth mindset. We're not all fixed mindset. We're kind of flowing in between. But what Dweck says is that it's a good idea. It's a good idea for us to constantly be on track. That let's move towards a growth mindset. Okay, we can very likely be in the fixed mindset. A lot of us are, but let's try and move towards the growth mindset. So probably keep questioning yourself every now and then. How am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, and what I can do is I can also send a few of these slides as handouts to Francis, and you can share it with you in case you want it. Otherwise, there's a lot on the internet. You can just get there and get going on that. Okay, so I move on to my next section, and that is developing trust and respect. So yeah, so tell me, why is trust building important in the classroom? What does trust building do to students? What does trust building do to teachers? So why is trust building important in the classroom? Give me one word, one sentence in the chat box. Okay. That's great. I like that. Students answer without fear. Yeah. It's a safe zone, right? Right, absolutely. Right, you're right, Satwinder. They should feel the fearless atmosphere. Yes, yes. So Sarika, you hit the nail on the head by saying that one very important word, and that's security. Yeah. The child needs to feel secure. When the child feels secure, they can do anything because then they are fearless to reach out to complete any task. So thank you so much, everyone. So I'm getting back to the presentation. And what does building trust, what does building trust consist of? Yeah. It first and foremost, if you can see that little graphic. When you've got to operationalize building trust, that means when you actually go about building trust, I think what's really important is active listening. So when you're doing active listening, what you're doing is You're listening without judgment. Okay. Um, when they talk to you, when they share something with you, it's important just to let it flow. You know, as human beings, what happens is because of where we come from the experiences we have and the personalities we have. That's a baggage we carry. And then when we listen to people, we kind of filter it through those boxes which have been part of our life. Okay. And that's where we have to very actively let go. Okay. You just need to listen to them. Okay. You need to invite them to speak to you. You need to encourage them to be there for you. Okay. Which you may not be, you don't have to be just encouraging them verbally. Okay. It's your non-verbals. I mean, all of you would know that it's your non-verbal communication, your body language, call it what you may, is 80% or 90% or more, whatever those numbers are, of your communication. Okay? So if children see you, non-verbally being available, they're going to come to you, right? And when they do, listen to them. And, if you want to ask questions about them, probe skillfully. Someone might say, I got very angry about something, acknowledge their feelings. Someone says that so and so person died in the next house. You might say, oh, how did you feel? So, I didn't feel anything. Okay, fine. That person didn't feel anything. Maybe she didn't understand things, whatever. Acknowledge their feelings. And it could say over here, respect them, clarify what what they're feeling. If you feel someone's upset, get them to focus on it, engage with them. This is all a part of acknowledging their feelings. And then reward them, praise them. I don't know about you, but I love it when people praise me. Of course, praise me in a justifiable manner, not just so. Praise them, let them know why you're praising them, what is it that you like about them, and you know how to reward the kids. You know what really they like. So put that up. In fact, I always say that when you start a new class, you can make like a little menu of what might be the reinforcers. Okay, so what really would these kids like? Rather than taking the same thing forward every year, maybe every different children, and therefore someone might come up with something different or something new. And when you actually make this menu of rewards and praises, or rewards only, and put that chart up on your classroom wall, believe me, those kids are going to be looking forward to it. Okay, so you might also have a stamp on their hand or a sticker. I don't know. I mean, you know better than me, right? But get these reinforcers going, because kids just love it, and I think you and I also love it. Okay. And the last one, they make them feel like they matter. Yeah, it's I think that is sometimes missing in the classroom. Yeah. Again, I don't say yours, hers, whatever. Making every child feel like they matter. And I mean, I don't know. Look at your own personal school experience. I know that I didn't like going to school. I rarely remember a year or certain days when I liked going to school, right? And perhaps that was one of my motivations in becoming a school psychologist, an educational psychologist. Wanting to know that what can be done better. Children should like going where they have to go and spend 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours of the day. And time in the classroom, time with the teachers, literally shapes their life. Yeah. So that's really very important in building trust. Okay, why is building respect important? Probably for the same reasons everything else that you put in. But look at this pyramid. Okay, and I put up this pyramid especially because it says it so beautifully. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy, okay? And Maslow's hierarchy, in fact, puts at the bottom, that means the respect we put in here, that is the basis of our relationship. And if you recognize it, it's not only important, we're talking right now in the classroom scenario, but look at it. Think about it. Isn't it the basis of our, of any relationship? Who are you friends with? Are you friends with people who don't respect you? No. In fact, you will choose friends who like you and who do respect you. And those who do not respect you, you will move away from them after a while, right? Look at your relationship with your spouse. If it is not a respectful relationship, then it's not a happy relationship. Okay, and as much as we may try to make that relationship good, but if we do not have respect as the basis, it's not going to be a good relationship. Okay, because when we have respect, then from there comes appreciation. From there comes recognition. From there comes our ability and our motivation to support. Okay, and from there comes gratitude and love. If you do not respect the person, none of the others is going to happen. And if you try and express all of the others, appreciation onwards, for someone you do not respect, then it is a fake emotion. It is fake behavior. Okay, so it's important that we build this respectful relationship with children and with the parents. Okay, and initially the initiative is going to be taken by the teacher. That's you. Okay, and then probably it's going to be built up by the others. So build respect. It's like give respect, get respect. You know that. And this is a nice little graphic which I found on respect. Resilience. Resilience is a very, very important trait and state that we all need to build up right now, considering we are going through these very, very difficult times. What's resilience? I think I want you to go and read into it. But I really do want you to read into it. It's really important. Okay. And then we're talking about respect for excellence, providing support, there being pride, engagement, creativity, and teamwork. It's all of this when you're talking about respect, just between you, one student, you and the student's parents. Okay, that really matters. Okay, and thus apart from your student and your communication, I'm coming to teacher-parent communication. Okay. What is the purpose? The purpose is, that we do build trust and respect between parents and teachers, because unless you have this, just like with your children, you're not going to be able to communicate well. Okay, and of course, it's initially up to you, like I said, to begin the process, yeah, and to enable the process, to provide an environment where this process can take place, yeah. So you are the captain of the ship, which is your classroom. And remember that it's not only children who come into your classroom, it's your parents who are also coming into the classroom. Yeah. And then you have, then teachers will have to be constantly aware of the disadvantages the parents face. So I know that we want parents to interact with us. We probably expect them to at least monitor the children as far as maybe some homework is given, whatever. But as you very well know, I mean, you people have been working in the field. You would know that there are definite limits to which these parents will be able to help. They might be completely illiterate. And so what do? So they can be encouraged, educated to actually, behaviorally monitor the kids, not academically, So that's the kind of relationship you need to build up with them, so that you can guide them in terms of the role they have to play. Okay, teachers should inform parents of any concerns right away. Explain the strategies that they have been used, because sometimes a child might perceive your interaction or your task task management differently, and because it's a child and not really understanding it perhaps the way you're trying to get him or her to do it. And it's important to talk about this with the parent if something different has been used, because finally the parent is an adult and will be able to understand it, and the two of you can actually work together so that it actually benefits the child. Yeah. Also, when discussing any issues, teachers should make sure to explain ways that parents can help at home. I've spoken about that. I think it's important to understand that even if these parents are not very educated, not educated at all, they're still individuals who have had their experiences in life. And as you know, there's no better teacher than life experiences. So I think we need to just respect that. We just need to respect that. And we need to respect the fact that these are people who've never been to school. And yet they're doing a lot to get their child into school. I'm not saying that there aren't parents, the parents who show or who do not probably understand the importance of education. They're probably putting their child into school because they just, they've been told that every child needs to go to school, whatever. But I think if we get into more of a growth mindset, if we have a little more empathy, where I'm coming to, we should be able to do that. And this kind of a communication will create parents who are supportive, understanding, and trusting of the teacher and the teacher's intentions. So, I remember just at the beginning of this last academic year, that's 2019-20, I was present at the when the new year started in the BMC school at the pre-primary, so your LKG, and then I did a parent communication session, and it was amazing. I had so many of these parents, and I had a lot of dads. So I was nicely surprised because I'd been told a lot of them don't come, but we did have a lot of dads there. And, I remember a lot of them might be men who are plying rickshaws, auto rickshaws, because they were all in their uniform. And so I asked them also, I said, do you all have to leave at a particular time because we're having a 45-minute session? They said, no, we've come prepared for it. And, we want to be here, Didi. And you tell, you can take your time because we have kept 1 hour aside from this. So it was so heartening. And then I had a lot of moms, like a lot of the children there were from a minority community, and so I had a lot of moms from this minority community who were there, and they kept, a lot of them, in fact, put up their hands and said, Didi, why are you talking in Hindi or in Marathi? We understand English, okay? So, that was really nice. And so I went into the English, and, I was going back and forth between that. And I still remember it, the memories. It was such a lively session, okay? It was like, they had no inhibitions for asking me questions. And I still remember Miss Anjali, who kind of, is one of the trustees of the NGO, which I kind of volunteer with. And she kind of runs this whole program in that school. And she was telling them, she said, please do me a favor. Do not send your children for tuitions because we're doing a lot here and we want to do a lot here. And at least at the lower and senior KG, do not send your children for tuitions. And what we got back from the parents was so amusing. The mom said, well, we have a lot of work to do at home. So when they come home and they have to do stuff, we have to send them to someone who knows more than us. And, I'm probably the only one who's able to do it. And my husband's not going to do anything. So, Miss Anjali, don't tell me not to send to tuitions, okay? Because you don't understand how important it is to me, okay? And they were kind of just laughing about it, and they said that no matter what you tell us, we're going to send, because we are putting our children into school because we want them to have a life which is better than ours. Okay, but they did it all in such a light manner that we were all just talking and laughing about it. Okay, and although we all knew that it's serious, but yeah, that's the kind of interaction we had. So it's something which I will always remember. Okay, and then I'm coming to uh, some counseling skills that we can talk about. Counseling skills for teachers, right? We're not talking about you becoming a qualified counselor, okay? But there are definitely some counseling skills which a teacher can use in the classroom, okay? So here I am with my next activity. This is what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes, okay, for about a minute, and I want you to think, who was your favorite teacher in school? I mean, through the years, I know there might be 2, 3, but who was your topmost, okay, favorite that you remember? And then I want you to put down in the chat box who she was. I don't know if you remember her name and you want to put that down, or maybe she was an English teacher or a history teacher. And what is it about her that you remember that made her so much of a favorite for you? Okay, what is it about her that you remember, which you remember so fondly? Okay, so I want you to put that down for me. Who was she? What was she? Something like that. And what is it that you remember about her? Yeah, so I want that down in the chat box. Okay, so Swati, if you put my primary class teacher, oh, she was not partial. Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to put down for me why you considered her your favorite teacher. Okay. Lively class, all right. Come on, give me some more. Motivating every student, okay. Mm-hmm. That's lovely, Sophia. Just, I think it underlines the fact, perhaps, how secure she made you feel. You know. Oh, you're still connected with her. Okay. All right. One thought to take home is that I want you to think whether this teacher that you like, yeah, did you find her to be kind? Okay, kind. And I think that is a thought I wanted to take home. Was she kind? Was she approachable? The children just gather around her like honeybees. Yeah. That's a picture I want to take home. So thank you, everyone. For all your thoughts. Thank you, Neelam, Rupal, Sophia, Archana. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So let's move back to the presentation. Now, I'm just going to be talking to you about 2 to 3 important counseling skills. Okay. One is empathy. Yeah. So what I want you to do is, I'm going to give you a minute or two, and I want you to recall and share a case, okay, where you found it difficult to empathize with the student's situation, okay? So I need you to put down maybe a child did not complete homework and the child is constantly doing this, and you're not able to You're not able to understand. You're not able to empathize. Okay. So before I go on, of course, what is empathy? Just in very brief, empathy is to be able to step into the other person's shoes or the other person's role and try to understand the situation from that person's perspective. Okay, that's what empathy is. So I want you to put down a case. Let's first start with a case, so you can put it all down together. Share a case where you found it difficult to empathize, and maybe another student, or maybe the same student at another time, where you found it easy to empathize. Okay, just put that down for me. You can take a minute for this, and then we'll discuss what made it easy and what made it difficult. Okay, so first put that down for me. It's going to be maybe 2-3 sentences. That's fine. Okay, so can I have a few responses there? Maybe some child where you found it easy to empathize, but where you didn't find it easy, and then we discuss it. Can I have a few responses? So I'm going to use some names here to call out to you guys. Neelam, Rupal, Vandana, Jyoti. Can I have? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Neelam. One child in my class couldn't accept that he hasn't got good grades. No. So what I'm talking about is a situation which I gave you an example of, that you expected homework to be done, and you found that this child is not doing it, not just once but repeatedly. And so you're not able to understand, you're not able to see it from that child's point of view, why that homework is not being done. Okay, so I think I'm going to go back to my slide. Okay, I'm going to try and make you understand what empathy is. Okay, so I'm actually going to go to my next slide. Okay, let's use this for me to make you understand. Now, let's say a child is there's a child who comes to class and he regularly does not get his tiffin. I know that there are meals being given in school, but let's say that everyone has to get some little thing, and the child is not getting it, right? Now, let's say not a meal, but let's say you're having some craft session, okay, and children have been, let's say, asked just to get one scissor each. The rest of the material will be given at school, but this child has to get a scissor. Every art and craft class, you see that this child is not getting the scissor in spite of you having asked, and that sometimes situations are difficult at home, and children may not fully either report to the parent what they want, but you see that most children are getting it, but this child always is not getting it. Now, how do you feel? Do you feel sorry for the child? Do you say, oh my God, I know how bad it must be, poor thing, no one is probably able to give him what he wants, etc. Or are you getting into his feet and thinking that, okay, Maybe his parents don't even know that they require this, or I haven't told he hasn't told his parents, or maybe if he has, right now no one is able to either go and get it, or doesn't want to be spending the money on getting that, which is okay. Let me see if I can get this child to share with someone else. Even though it's going to have to be perpetual sharing. Or is there anything I have in classroom which perhaps a child can share? Or or is it apathy? Um, okay, now there's nothing that I can do. I have told the child, I have written many notes. Now what can I do? He'll just either have to not do it, not do the activity, or let him share with whatever, let him find his own way. So there are three ways in which we can tend to usually respond, either with empathy, which is the most obviously, which is the most desirable. We can do with sympathy, like poor thing, sorry, and poor thing, I feel very sorry, but that's like a quicksand. You're not going to be able to help the child. Okay. And the last, what is known as apathy, that is you throw up your hands. Okay. You say, oh, I tried my best. I can't handle this with 40 kids, 50 kids. I mean, it's okay. Now I just have to just let it be. Okay. So you have to, one way to do is constantly check your responses. Okay. And remember this three ripple circle and try and figure out into which of these zones, consider it like a three zone thing, and into which of these three zones your responses are falling into. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at let's look at this picture. Yeah, just look at this picture and give me one sentence to describe it. Okay, just one sentence. So just look at this picture and give me one sentence to describe it. Put it in the chat box. Okay, and this I'm not going to be expecting you to take more than the next 5 seconds. Okay, looks sad. She looks beautiful, beautiful, expressionless, sad. Okay, okay. Any more, please? Quickly. You just need to put even one word like Amol has put. Not an Indian, okay? Okay. Now, if you can see, we've said expressionless, beautiful. She looks sad. She's beautiful. Some might say she's thinking of something. She seems to be lost in thought. Okay. Now, the thing is, I only asked you to describe her, right? Okay. And what happens is when we describe, we are assuming. We're assuming. So when a child comes into the classroom, we're assuming that, he looks sad, he's upset. Yes, we might read into emotions, but then 2, 3 of us might look at it differently. So if I see the chat box, I just see, again, one more, which is coming, beautiful eyes. But if I were to describe, I would say, okay, here is a woman who's wearing a black t-shirt, who has, blonde golden hair, who's got gray blue eyes, and who's put on some red lipstick. Okay, that is description. Okay, the rest is assumption. The rest is everything coming from your perspective, from your experiences. Okay, so why am I saying this? Because the next counseling skill, very, very important, is to be non-judgmental. So you first look at people and situations for what they are. Look at it, first of all, with a very rational view, okay? And strive for unconditional positive regardings. Try not to get into any judgments, okay? Now, in this, you are not really making a judgment, but you're just making assumptions, okay? So first, try and look at physically, conversation, try to understand the other person and empathize. And then there are all these things in being non-judgmental, and that's what research says, that if you respect yourself, you're going to respect others and accept others. Okay. Okay, I'm going to skip this and send this to you. So children often encounter negative situations in life. Okay, what might be some negative situations faced by children that affect their mental health? Or it could be a number of things, especially when we're thinking of children from this environment. Okay, so one could be the physical environment they are in. Are they getting, first of all, these children, are they getting enough nutrition? Are they probably seeing some domestic violence at home? Are they themselves facing any kind of abuse, whether it is physical abuse, sexual abuse? Have they lost their family and are they living with someone else? So these are some of the negative situations which you will find in your classroom and which definitely will be affecting the children's mental health. Okay. Um, and I'm going to show you just a little bit of this little video, probably at the end, because I want to finish with this presentation first, and then let's see how much time we have, okay? So, like I've said, think of the educational and economic resources available to your students. How do children with limited educational economic resources deal with the academic, environmental, and social challenges? Okay, and that's what the video is asking you to think. Um, when you have them coming to the classroom, how are you going to expect them to deal with it? And whatever I've covered, okay, in terms of trust building, respect building, communication with parents, I think those are going to be your answers. So, what can the teachers also do? You need to know and understand your red flags. Okay, that means you need to be able to recognize when all is not well. When you recognize that, you need to observe. Okay, so don't jump to conclusions. You might have sudden changes in behavior only for a day or two, and then things will go back to normal. But if those changes in behavior are lasting even a week and more, okay, just a week and more, then you are going to be looking for it, calling in the parents, and talking about why we're seeing this change in behavior. Um, we've talked about empathy and the importance to have, an empathic attitude. It always needs to be like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I like you, care for you, but I need to get you to get your work done. How are you going to do it? Okay. And give children choices, that assignments have to be submitted. Those who have difficulties, come talk to me about it. When they talk to you about it, when you understand, or when you call in parents, then you can increase the level of support and encouragement that is required for those children. Finally, be a role model. Okay, they're not going to respect you if you don't respect yourself. So I'm sure all of you are in this job because you really enjoy teaching. That's going to come across whether you like it or not. So I always say a job like this, don't do it because of whatever other advantages it might offer you. Because, whatever you are, no matter what, you will always project it to the children. Okay. And reframe, remind the child to limit their weaknesses to the context. So when a child says, I'm not good at studies, you need to reframe it. Yes, you did not do well in this test, or you've not been doing well in your math test. So let's look at what's going wrong there. Okay, let's look at what you've also done well in. All right. So reframe the context for them. Don't let one or two or eight experiences shape their entire perception of themselves, their self-image. Okay, so these are some questions that I put up, but I would rather that I take questions from you. Okay, so while I have this screen up, why don't we start with some questions from you? Okay, give me some questions. What I've done with you, etc. I'm almost done with my presentation. So tell me, give me some questions. Any questions that I need to answer? Any doubts that you have? Any questions? Sujata, Apurva, Sophia, Satvinder. Give me some questions. Okay, Amol, thank you so much. We always think of respecting and counseling, but will it affect my discipline? So, Amol, this is a very good question. Okay, very good question. And in fact, you will find my answers to it coming from the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Okay, so how can we have any relationship, like I spoke to you, without respect? And if you have respect, you're going to be able to control the classroom. So what is discipline in the first place? Discipline is being able to set limits. Okay, the way I look at discipline is I look at it as your signal on the road. You know, your red light, yellow light, green light, and all behaviors can be understood, and children can be made to understand the behavior as falling into these three zones: red zone, green zone, yellow zone. So red zone is some behaviors are just a no-no in the classroom, and we put that down on a chart paper. There are behaviors which are fine, okay? So if you're giving 5 minutes at the end of the class where we want to ask questions, etc., so noise and chaos is fine, okay? That's another thing also, you know, that I need you to read on. The classrooms don't have to be absolutely quiet, right? That's what a fixed mindset is all about. It's got to be ordered, it's got to be this, that, and the other. But if you have a growth mindset, what you're going to think about is that learning can take place in groups. Learning can take place by discussion. Learning should take place by interaction. And so if there's a little chaos and confusion, that's fine, as long as children are learning and they're enjoying, right? And that's where respect and counseling, you know, respect, empathy, trust, whatever I spoke to you about. These are big words I'm using right now. What? They're all a part of you. They're a part of how you conduct yourself. It's a part of how you conduct your classroom. So no, Amol, I think it's only going to make your discipline better. Okay, Sophia. Adolescent age, how to handle arrogance. At times it becomes difficult. I agree it becomes difficult. But again, Sophia, the way out, okay, and I strongly believe this and I've experienced it, is to do relationship building. You have a good relationship with the kids. They respect you for what you're doing. That is going to be the bottom line of discipline. Yeah, especially the older kids, because older kids also come with a lot of this attitude which they gather from wherever. But if you actually sit down and talk to them individually, okay, so like as a counselor, if I sit and talk to them, it takes me perhaps, you know, a couple of sessions of 15-20 minutes each to break that ice. Once I break that ice, I'm good. Okay. How can we streamline the children with special needs kids with the normal kids as far as studies are concerned? Yes. So, in fact, Francis was talking to me about whether we should do a session on differentiated instruction, which probably we can do sometime down the line. And that, Neelam, helps us to understand that, you know, there are children with different needs, and how through lesson planning we can actually provide what's known as differentiated. So it's like the same chapter, you're giving all children accessibility to the same curriculum, but you're doing it through different activities. You're doing it through different planning. Planning in the sense, like, you know, say, if I have to teach a history chapter, then what are the outcomes that I'm expecting from each child? Okay. For some children, they might need more pictures. Should I show a video to all the children? Okay. Children with special needs might need constant support. So should I have a peer helper, peer buddy, and I can change that peer buddy every week or every month? Okay. So these are the things that all come into differentiated instruction. Also, the exams that I'm giving or the tests that I'm giving. If I'm expecting most children to do long answers, maybe I can give these children to do shorter answers, or I can give them MCQ, at least as far as learning and understanding is concerned, and then try to see how we can get them to attempt the tests and examinations that everyone does. So that would come under differentiated instruction. Any more questions? I have time for maybe a question or two. Okay, so if I am not getting any more questions, then I'm just going to finish with this last slide, which is, it's important for discipline, like Amol asked about discipline, to set clear, firm limits for inappropriate behavior, develop logical consequences rather than punishment, recognize that behavioral problems may be just transient and related to trauma, okay? Even the most disruptive behaviors can be related by trauma-related anxiety, okay? And today, with all these issues happening outside, children are going to come into your classroom with a lot of issues, okay? Apart from that, there could be domestic violence, sexual abuse, etc. So you need to provide a safe place for the child to talk, for the family to talk, and reach out for professional help if required. And nowadays, good psychological professional help is also available at municipal hospitals and NGOs. Okay, so one can reach out to all these places in order to help the child and the parents with professional help. Okay, and this is just a little bit of ABCs of behavior management. So basically, we're talking about encouragement, happiness, and there's really that word which is why I use that, and that is kindness. Okay, children just are attracted to you because of your kindness. Yeah, so that's something that perhaps you can take forward. So it's yeah, I think I'm on schedule, and I'm done for now. And thank you for your thanks, all of you, as what I can see in the chat box. And I do hope that it's been useful. And hopefully, we should get back sometime together for maybe a session on differentiated instruction. Yes. So thank you all of you for joining this session. And what I would like to say is take care of yourselves right now first, and then of course take care of your families and take care of your students as they start coming into your classrooms. Thank you and namaskar. So Jyoti and Vandana, can we get out of the session now?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, first of all. Definitely, I like the example that you gave us being non-judgmental. That was really good. I mean, definitely we'll try not to be judgmental, especially while dealing with the students.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
But I'm hoping you in Mumbai very soon.
Yes. Although I tell you very honestly, I'm also so concerned about my older daughter because she can't come home right now.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So I'm just, I'm looking at that as a silver lining, positive thinking. I'm saying, okay, whatever time I get to spend with Gauri here is good. And of course, I'm waiting to get back home. My husband and my other daughter are back home. But I'm just going to be very calm about it and say, okay, what's in my control? Let me work on that. What's out of my control? Let me just let it be, wait and watch. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Take care.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Good morning, ma'am. The session was very useful, especially about the growth mindset.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It was very well explained, ma'am.
Thank you. And do read up on it. आणि मी हिंदी पण बोलते आणि मी मराठी पण बोलते. तर तुम्ही माझ्याबरोबर म्हणजे कुठल्या पण भाषेत बोलू शकता.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I just kept it to English because, we're going to work with the children in English and, things like that. But now that we are out of this session,